Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual launch of the book Dharma by Design, A Universe in Harmony by Surekha Kothari. My name is Antara Pandit, and I am especially excited, honored, and proud to be a part of this event today, as the author of the book that we are all here to celebrate today is my mom. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce the members of the August panel who have so graciously accepted to be an important part of the launch this evening. Shri N. Ravi, Miss Nalini Singh, Miss Sandhya Sridhar, and our anchor for this evening, Miss Kanupriya. Let me start the introductions with a few words about our very own author today. A prolific writer, Surekha's worldview has been shaped by her deep insight into the spiritual core of humanity, her quest influenced by her mother and her guru. This book, Dharma by Design, A Universe in Harmony, is the result of her extensive study and understanding of Dharma as a tool of human connectivity in these troubled times. Her Master of Arts in Political Science has greatly inspired her philosophy of life and political thought. Surekha is also a Hindustani classical vocalist and dancer, and an independent professional of hypnotherapy and Reiki. She has been the national president of Wiki Flow Delhi 2002 to 2003, among other prominent portfolios held in several organizations. Shri N. Ravi, publisher of the Hindu group of newspapers, is a multifaceted personality with a brilliant career in journalism and a special interest in international economy, human rights, and Indo-US relations, to name just a few. Awarded many times over, Shri Ravi is deeply interested in Vedanta and spirituality. His expansive knowledge and expertise in this area is simply evident in the introduction he has written for this book. A warm welcome to Shri N. Ravi. Our next member of this panel is the soft-spoken, cerebral, and a highly respected veteran journalist and author, Ms. Nalini Singh, who has not only anchored many a Doordarshan program, but is especially known for her programs Aanko Dekhi on investigative journalism and Hello Zindagi. Both her articles on current issues and her books are enlightening and thought-provoking. Nalini is also the founder of the Nepalese TV channel Nepal One. A very warm welcome to you, Ms. Nalini Singh. Ms. Sandhya Sridhar, the third member of the panel this evening, is an extremely talented and experienced editor who has edited Dharma by Design, and I have no doubt that she knows the book backwards and forwards. She is an independent editor, writer, and the founder of Zuna Literary Agency with over 25 years experience in print media with magazines and newspaper supplements. So a warm welcome to you, Ms. Sandhya Sridhar. Last but not least, our anchor for this evening is the popular actor, host, director, and entrepreneur, Ms. Kanupriya. She's anchored the earlier interviews of B.K. Shivani of Brahmakumaris with an abounding knowledge of spiritual concepts. She has created and directed many successful shows such as Karma Bhumi, Ardastya, and more. She's been a part of the entertainment industry for more than 25 years and has kindly accepted to anchor this event. A warm welcome to you, Ms. Kanupriya, and over to you now to take this event forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Antara. It's a blessing to be here today. And before I move over to the main talks and launching of the book, I would like to share that Antara is not just a daughter, but she is a great writer and a blogger, and also a very beautiful, very, I would say, kind parent. She's a parenting expert. So a very warm welcome, Antara. Thank you so much. Moving over to this book, Dharma by Design, A Universe in Harmony. I take this opportunity to thank everyone who's there, because this is a historic moment. These moments are very less now in our universe, and I'm so thankful to Surekha for bringing me in. And Surekha, a big round of applause. We can't have it; it's a virtual thing, but in my mind, I can hear those claps, because it was a very important thing. Congratulations that you were able to bring this thing out. Before I move over to all the panelists and start, a discussion on the book, I would like to start with a few words. Dharma is an app which highlights the built-in system within each of our souls. This system tells us how to conduct our journey through life by balancing our earthly and divine rules. we have to understand how to use this app. And for that, we have to download it first. This is the start of the book. Congratulations, Surekha. And I start with you only. In your introductory video, you've already told us that what inspired you to come up with this book. But what I would like to ask you, because I have met you, I know you as a friend also, that the simplicity in your personality is what is being reflected in this book. So, how much of your life journey is being depicted? Because I have seen many milestones of your spiritual journey also, a lot of times in our talks. So, how much of your spiritual journey is being reflected in this?
Thank you, Kanu. You know, one evolves gradually, and with all the experiences, when you go back to looking at your life, you've connected the dots which you never connected earlier. So I think in my case, the
Hello. I think you've lost your voice, Surekha. Can other panelists hear her?
no.
Yeah, we so right now we somehow, this is the new normal which is happening. We have to live with this. So we would be coming back to you, Surekha, but and I definitely would like to know how much of your life journey is a part of this book. But N. Raviji, it's a privilege for me to connect with you, and you just talked about it that you've read it twice, the whole book. And we are living in these times when we talk about dharma. In English, when we say religion, in Hindi, when you go and Google search, see the translation, it is dharma. So all our lives we have lived with this, that religion equals to dharma, and that is why we could never understand that why all the fight and everything which is happening in the name of religion it should not be there, because the first dharma is ahimsa paramo dharma. So very beautifully in the first chapter only we are made to understand that there is a difference between religion and dharma, and what she talks about is manav dharma. How much are we ready to take in society today this difference, and how much this book can help?
Thank you, Kanupriya, and thank you, Antara, for that generous introduction earlier. You are very right. The main object of this book seems to be to take dharma outside its religious moorings. In fact, dharma is a peculiarly Indian word and is an elusive concept. It is not just that translators often despair of getting a proper equivalent for the word dharma in English. Even within the Indian tradition, dharma has defied a definitive explanation, but that has been subject to numerous interpretations. Thus, you have dharma standing for, as you said, Kanupriya, religion per se, for religious observances, for virtuous conduct, including truth, compassion, charity, and non-violence. More controversially, as avocation suited to one's social position and age, the duty of kings, as in Raj Dharma, and so on. And commentators, both ancient and new age, have their own glosses on the subject. In this book, Surekha Kothari has made a valiant attempt to unpack dharma of its essential features and has succeeded in a great measure in this remarkable book. I have read it twice over, and each time I felt it was a different book altogether. It is just that with each reading, you pick up something different that strikes you as the most significant. The essential feature of this work which seeks to take Dharma outside the religious fold, is that she has focused on four aspects, which she calls the four pillars of Dharma. The four pillars that she expounds are Satya or truth, Tapa or a life of self-restraint, moderation, and contentment. The third is cleanliness, not just of the body, but also of the mind, and includes qualities such as honesty. The fourth pillar is compassion that manifests itself in all actions, including charity and kindness to all beings, including the environment. In the Indian tradition, religion is very broadly defined, and the religious corpus includes texts on mathematics, on science, on surgery, and of course in such areas as Ayurveda and yoga. Dharma, though, is regarded as a core aspect of different religious traditions, whether it's Hinduism, whether it's Buddhism, Jainism, or Sikhism. Yoga, to a large extent, has been taken outside its religious context and has spread worldwide, and to a lesser extent, so has Ayurveda, with Ayurvedic drugs being sold as health supplements in the markets outside India. Can Dharma attain such a universal status? The closest that a religious text on virtuous conduct has gained more or less universal recognition is the Ten Commandments, which is easy to understand, though it is difficult to practice. Surekha's book is a pioneering attempt to make the appeal of Dharma universal, and in picking four essential elements, she has made the task of comprehension easier. In fact, I would commend the author for providing us with a book which, while being profound in its meaning and significance, is also very well written and makes for profitable reading.
Great. Thank you, Ravi. And in fact, it really brings out the four aspects which she talks about and the difference between religion and Dharma. Sandhya, you have lived and you have been reading this book now, and everybody is talking about the wonderful way it has been edited. It's said that a book actually is, the editor is the backbone of the book. A lot of time is spent.
Thank you.
So, and we can see the way it has been, beautifully connected, and the chapters, the way they move. So, for you, Surekha has been writing for long now, but it was her first time. So, for you, the editor of many books, how was it interacting with the first time and such a deep knowledge, and bringing it in such simplicity? It's not that easy. So, what was your first experience, and how were you able to, align it and bring it for the people?
Thank you, Kanu. So when Surekha came to me saying that she had written a book that she wanted me to edit, I was very open. I was a little surprised as well because I did not know she was a writer. Then when she told me what the subject was, I must confess I was a bit taken aback because Dharma is not a subject that is light or easy to write. So I asked her to send me a sample chapter. Then reading the sample chapter, I wanted to read further. So I agreed to take on the project. From there on, it started my interactions with Surekha and the manuscript, of course. I should say, first time writer, she has commendably written a very structured book. In terms of structure and cohesive writing, I had nothing to offer her. So I was pleasantly surprised how much of flow she had brought to the book. And that is when I realized that she had written it through her lived experience. At some point, this has been a subject close to her heart, something she has understood and perhaps imbibed deeper than many of us. Once I started editing the book, and this is something I told Surekha as well, each time, like Mr. Ravi correctly pointed out, so I did about 3 to 4 rounds of reading and edit on the book for different, we looked at a book differently each time. For me, each time I kind of edited the book, it seemed different. It seemed to communicate differently to me. Each time there was some aspect that I could identify with as a person, not just an editor. Some of the things that she has brought about is bringing Dharma closer to the average reader. She has demystified this what could be a very complex philosophy or thought. She has brought it down, she has universalized it in the sense she has delinked it as being different from religion and as a part of life, our lives that we can follow in a very simple way in our everyday, actions and our interactions with people. I thought that this was very contextual in today's times when, thanks to COVID, all around us we hear people talking about how this has impacted our lives, how everybody is introspecting, how everybody is reimagining, reinventing the not just the way they live, but the things, the philosophies and principles that have driven many of the things we do. And in that context, this book is very there. And for those who really wish to refresh and renew the way they want to live their lives, this is a good starting point. So she has very easily set out what Dharma is, what it means to different kinds of people. She has put down the 4 pillars of Dharma and how easily or how simply we can make it a part of our lives if we wish it to, because ultimately these are individual choices that we make. And she writes it thus, so that it will have some relevance and it will echo and have some relevance to each one of us somewhere in some aspect of our lives. So I must say that I enjoyed editing this book. Um, I became very close to the book in that sense because,
We can see
yeah,
that.
like I said before, each time I read it, some part of it echoed in my own life. It made me pause to think. And it was a book that I couldn't do very quickly, because every part of it I had to pause to understand what she's trying to convey and edit it in the correct way so that I'm not changing any of the meanings that she intends. So that has been my experience with the book, and I'm very happy that I have had this opportunity to edit it.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you so much for this insight because, whoever, and in fact, a lot of people have joined in. So I would, because I've also read it twice. And every time you read, something or the other comes out. Because if you have an interest and you want to imbibe these aspects in your life, and that is why I wanted to speak to, Surekha about her life journey being shown, being reflected in this book. So, is Surekha, are you back so that we can have the launch?
Yes,
Or are you back, Surekha?
yes, I am back. Can you hear me?
We can, but I can't see you. Is is she visible? Yeah, you're there. Okay, Surekha, welcome back. We've been hearing such beautiful
Thank you.
things about
I'm
your
sorry, the
book,
Wi-Fi
and
went
now
off.
is the time. Gee, doesn't matter. And now is the time, the exact time for us to see the book, the launch of the book. We have read now, many people have joined in. So they would also like to see the launch of the book. It's a very important moment, historical moment for all of us who've been part of it. And also, we would like to request you to read some parts from the book, if it is possible.
Thank you, Kanu. I'm sorry, the Wi-Fi went off and there's been a little delay, but thank you. I would like to launch the book, but before that, one of the most important aspects that has been on my mind for a long time has been religion vis-a-vis dharma. So I'd like to read a paragraph from that first, and then hold up the book and launch it. So dharma really needs to be studied as a separate entity to realize ultimately that this is who we are. Dharma transcends religions only because it teaches us universal and eternal humanity. If at all it is connected with the term religion, it would have to be described as a religion for all humanity. Religion may separate atheists and agnostics as being non-religious, but no human can be or is beyond Dharma. This is the vast canvas of understanding that has wittingly or unwittingly eluded many, and maybe that ultimate reason for limitations, boundaries, and conflicts. Ironically, history has shown basic contradictions in religious belief systems. On a spiritual platform, the thumb rule is that any philosophy or belief systems that lead to conflict instead of peace, separatism instead of integration, imbalances instead of creating harmony, cannot be referred to as being dharmic. This contradiction is enough to trigger a debate on the pragmatism inherent in religious teachings. The term religious warfare, therefore, has to be contradictory to all the message of peaceful coexistence that is inherent in all the religious texts.
Great. So we all look forward to the release of the book now. Dharma by Design, A Universe in Harmony by Surekha Kothari. It's available on Notion Press. Can we see the book now?
Yes.
Can this, yes.
This is the,
So congratulations.
thank you very much. And what I would like to say is, as an aside, Kanu and I were discussing a muhurtam for this book, a good time, auspicious time. And then suddenly I realized that the universe has made it so easy for us. It's not just a time between 7 and 8, but it's the whole day, because it's Labh Pancham today, which is one of the most auspicious days in the year. And also it's Guruvar, which is the Guru, the Var of the Gurus, of the day of the week. So because of my Guru's blessings that this book came about, and because it's Labh Pancham today, and because all of you are with me today, I can't think of a better day than this. Thank you so much, all of you.
Yes, congratulations and thank you, Surekha. So continuing our discussion, Nalini ji, a very warm welcome, and we really thank you because you're not well and you were able to come, and your vibrancy and your presence actually allows us to feel very good about it. Now, if we talk about the book, the way Sandhya said that we are in these times where it's tough to continue, and we are all looking for some kind of religion to connect to, some kind of inner peace and something to hold on to, because we should move through this time. And believe me, most of us would always say that if asked, if we are not the youngsters, if our age, are you religious? You believe in religion? We'll say yes, we are. But are we connected to the Manav Dharma, which this book talks about? We are religious. We do follow the dictates of what is being, given to us. But the way this book talks about, and why we follow the religion is also because we want to have a safe life. We want to get things faster. So the way Surekha is talking about, we follow these 4 very easy actually things, the Manav Dharma, and we will be able to achieve our life purposes, in the aura of where we are today. So why we are still shying away, how this book can help us in today's generation, in these times, for us to manifest, following these small, things which are connected to our core. Can this happen?
Thank you very much. I want to thank Surekha and everybody here for putting up with me. Actually, I personify the turmoil of the times because I've just recovered or am recovering from COVID. So I actually, bring with me all that has happened in the last 10 months or a year to the planet. What I would say is that for me, this is more a stream of consciousness, more of that than a book. and one can dip into this stream at any point, as others have mentioned. But first, I would like to thank Surekha for separating Dharma from religion. Although she talks about the Muhurt today, which of course takes us to the Hindu religion, but I would still say that with delicate pincers, she has taken Dharma out of religion, and that to me is a great a great achievement of this book. I'm singularly underqualified or ill-qualified, unqualified to be sitting here, because professionally I represent the two or three aspects of our life which are the most vile politics, vile television news, where in these, what I have found over the years, and what everybody knows, even the Supreme Court has now started commenting on it, that the four pillars of Dharma that Surekha has identified, they're all wobbling in our profession. I mean, where I come from, they're wobbling and they're teetering from my professional world. So I would say that I look in amazement at anybody attempting such a book. So I have a question. I have a series of, 2 or 3 questions, but I'll just put it like this, because this is to say that, what kind of a person writes such a book? Are people talking about Surekha? Are they mentioning to her that she's a maverick, she's an outlier? Or are people saying, look, this was latent in us, and you have just articulated some of the bramble bush in which we found ourselves? So Surekha will tell us, I hope she will tell us, whether she's considered who is this person? What kind of... This book actually belongs to another yug, as far as I'm concerned, because what I see is an extraordinary, collapse of the values that even I grew up with. And so somebody talking about the 4 pillars of Dharma, or am I being cynical? But in order to dive deeply and gain from Surekha's study, and it must have taken study, it must have taken self-doubt, introspection, discussion. So in all of that, I have 2 or 3 questions only, and I put them up quickly so that we know more. How does this book explain the suffering of children? It will not be enough to say that this is karmic debt from another life, because these are little children. These are innocent children, disabled children, children who are kidnapped at railway stations. So how does she explain the suffering of children through the Dharma? The second one is, how would this architecture of Dharma explain, the 4 pillars? How would they explain what would one say to persons who are thrown into terrible subordinate positions, like bonded labor, or like a young woman who is just having to stay in a marriage? She's beaten every day, but she's staying there because of children. So what Dharma can she? So would truthfulness and austerity and cleanliness and compassion be her support system? And lastly, I would say that I'm very taken by the fact that we are beings of light, and we are only transiting in this human form, and we are taking it as our permanent state. So I would like to ask, why did we skid off that the architecture of beings of light? From there, how did we come to being who we are today? And we don't seem to be people. With exceptions, with notable exceptions, whom I have great regard for. But how did we become so gross and non-dharmic and certainly people who have abandoned these 4 pillars, and we don't even worry about it. And the last thing I want to say, that Surekha has spoken about integration as a solution, that think of yourselves as part of the cosmic whole. So I would say that but life seems to be lived by othering, and people thrive by saying you're different and I'm different. And not in a nice way, not that diversity will lead to unity, but saying that you're different, so I'm going to go at you. So where does all this fit into this, into this great effort at identifying these 4 pillars of Dharma?
Great, 4 beautiful questions. Are you there?
I'm there.
Okay, no. Surekha, are you there? I think we've lost Surekha again. But these are wonderful questions, and a lot of things can be talked about it. If I can ask, if we can wait for Surekha to come, but we can ask Raviji if he would like to, say something about it, or Sandhya, because these are the questions which most of the people, have in their minds. When we are living a normal life and not a life where this kind of awakening is happening. I can, I'll wait for Surekha, but I can share my own experience. I have been a media person all my life, and when this process of questioning and programming started, and I had the similar questions, and all these things, the point of light, or the part of that light that gives you one solace, because you're not connected through religion. But and if there is so much of negativity which is coming up, which we can see now, which is we can't even tolerate. On the other hand, if we see at the same time the structuring, the dharma which she's talking about, the manav dharma, the divineness, the divinity in all of us is also moving up. So both of the things are moving simultaneously. That's what I feel. It's my experience of last 15 years. But I'll still wait for Surekha to come on board. I think she's still not there. Raviji is there. Would you like to pick up one question?
Actually, Surekha is back.
She's back? Okay.
She's there, Kanpi ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you. I've logged on to my cell because I'm not able to get my laptop to work. So anyway, I'm with you.
Okay, Surekha, so you could hear those questions. Naliniji asked you 4 questions.
No, actually, can you please repeat that, because I've just come on?
Okay, I'll just do it quickly. One is, her question is that all these kids the children who are going through so much of abuse, how is it that we call it that this is karmic? Who is responsible?
Not abuse per se, but suffering of children. How do you explain
suffering of children? Yeah.
Okay, so it's.
We have lost you, Surekha. Can you hear us?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. We can.
So, Nalini, it's like this, karma works in a very different way. And the children who are suffering, we've had lots of past lives. And in many times, we have either been a perpetrator or we have played the role of a victim. And whatever we come down with in this life is our own choice and our own agenda. So this is a very vast subject, and some souls just coming to this life just to experience something. You find children leaving to go back, 3 years they die, 4 years they die. They just come to experience that one thing that they have come to experience by way of their agenda. And then they leave.
But it's pretty painful. It doesn't explain that human beings should have to go through such suffering with no mental apparatus. So if you do not believe in past lives, how do you explain the suffering of children, the suffering of subordinate beings, of bonded labor, of people caught in hideous circumstances and not able to do anything? So, to me, this experience, you go through an experience as a child. So what do you, I mean, how did you earn that?
Can I interject here? Nandini? The thing is that, you know, many examples are there where when they, through this suffering, they were able to rebel or they were able to come out, you know, because this was a learning maybe, you know, many of the examples are there when through the suffering, you know, the rebel or they were able to come out in a stronger way and help out the world. So that process of learning of the soul, if we are not able to connect each one of us as, you know, if we are taking ourselves as beings only and not connecting on the other side as a soul, that because through many examples are there when they have really fought back and they have done much bigger work for the upliftment of, and there are many examples if you look at it. Yes, it's very difficult on this platform, you know, on this dimension, that when we suffer.
Anu, can I make a
Yeah,
comment here? I completely get where Nalini's question is coming from. I think we need to very clearly separate dharma from karma. Now, if you see your past births, everything
yeah,
is related to karma, and dharma is all about the individual. In terms of it's a very individual path, and if you go through the book, you see that this whole thing rests on every individual introspecting and understanding, and this happens only if the individual is wanting to do it. See, it's a choice. It's the individual's choice what path they take, and this is while dharma is something that you make a choice and decide which are the aspects of dharma you want to choose. This path, you want to take that path. It's completely an individual journey, and where Surekha, I think, talks about connecting with the world is, she says very clearly in a book that you see so many inequalities, so many things happening around you that are not right. How do we address this? It's only as each one and adopts the path of dharma, and the numbers of people adopting this path multiplies, and therefore there is a universal cosmic connect. So this whole thing depends on a whole host of individuals realizing this and adopting the path. It's definitely not, I don't see this as a one shot or any kind of solution to all these very difficult
please.
things that we see around us. Yes, all of us see this, but ultimately this is to do with the individual. I see dharma, and from Surekha's book, as to do with the individual, and each individual writing their own selves, and then moving on to connect with those like them and creating a ripple effect. So this is the way I would look at it, Nalini.
Yeah,
Actually, if I could
Ravi.
come in for a minute, could
Yeah,
I?
we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think what Nalini has raised two very fundamental questions raised within the religious traditions and also outside of religion. That is, what explains evil, what explains suffering. Many religions have adopted different answers to this. One could be that it's a karmic burden of somebody to suffer. Then you have Buddhism, which says life is just suffering, nothing else. And then you have other traditions which say that you're predestined to suffer, and if you can work your way out of it, and so on. And of course, from Surekha's book comes out the answer that if everybody adopts dharma, then evil might disappear. But still, suffering, I don't know. The answer to suffering, I wouldn't know. Maybe Surekha could enlighten us on that.
Surekha,
Can I just say something here?
please.
So
Surekha.
I want to quote Eckhart Tolle, who says suffering is self-generated. And a lot of us, we have to work at the micro level to alleviate our suffering. Because unless we do that, the macro does not become healthy. So each one of us has to start working on ourselves and wondering why we are suffering. Are our attitudes wrong? Are we going in the wrong direction? Are we ignorant? Do we not have the right knowledge? What is it? So we actually have to refine our thought process every minute, become aware of what is happening around us, and instead of reacting, respond to everything with our intellect and with our heart. And this balance will give us the enlightenment that we need to suddenly realize that, oh, you know, this is not me. This is my ego that is suffering. It's not me. So when we start developing ourselves, we need to first of all understand we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are not the senses, we are not the ego. But we work only with this because we work with more body consciousness than spiritual consciousness. So this is the crux of our whole problem when we actually say that we are suffering. We are suffering. Why are we suffering? It is not anyone's problem, it is my problem. The buck stops with me.
There were other questions also, Nalini. Would you like to ask them? Is there now?
I don't want to monopolize this by any chance. You know, if you want, then I will do it. Shall I do it? Just a quick mention.
Yeah, please, because I think we're also waiting for more questions. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
See, it's open to others also to ask questions. Yeah.
So I would say that suffering of children, and I don't want to labor the point, but children who are born disabled, they don't, you know, it's not a choice for them. However, moving on, the persons who are thrown into subordinate positions, I was talking about bonded labor. You can talk about people, you know, across the world, across India. You are in subordinate positions without wanting to be. You are just tethered to some, you know, some social more or some economic reason. Now, I was give you the example of let's say, a very young woman, maybe she's only, you know, she's a teenager, 19 years old, in a village, who has 2 children, has to take domestic violence, hasn't got any money. So where do the 4 pillars, what is her support system in these 4 pillars? The next one I wanted to say is that Surekha has spoken very eloquently and very persuasively of us being beings of light, who are here in a transient fashion on this journey through, you know, through this life, and we've taken the human form, and yet we think of this as the permanent, and this is not new, everybody knows this. But the thing is that, when did this happen? Why did it happen? And you know, this architecture has changed from light beings to gross humans. I mean, gross as in the sense of one can touch. And you know, and what exactly, how did we go from dharmic values, which the light beings knew, to the non-dharma that we seem to have adopted? And the last question I had in this was, Surekha, you've spoken of integration, of coming together from the micro to the macro, never losing sight. You were saying it even just now, that we are part of one cosmic whole. But today I find that the way to get on with the world is to other somebody, you know, other the others, that you're absolutely different. And I gain from the fact that I'm able to put you down because you are another, you are the other, and I can gain because I can put you down, and the way to go up is to put somebody down. Not that everybody goes up together, which is what you are saying. So how do you deal with this? You have said that everybody should think, you know, should adopt these 4 pillars of Dharma. I'm wondering, what is the incentive? Are we going to be able to tell people? And I think these answers lie in your book, that this is the incentive. Do it. Don't other the others.
You know, let me tell you this in short. You know, this word now that we are in Kali right now, is what we say. How did this happen? How did we reach this state? If you look at my chapter on ancient wisdom, you will see the societies were regulated. The gurukuls were systems where education was multifold on every level. So there was no question of the deterioration of the human being. Even so, if that had happened, it would be a real minority. So from there, we have come to our ego being supreme, We've lost our human touch. We've lost our family system. We've lost caring for each other. We are more on one-upmanship, which is just ego-driven, because I think we have lost our soul connection. We've lost our connection with our souls. If you can, we are mirrors of each other. If I consider you my worst enemy, actually you're my best friend. But we don't look at it that way. We are shunning people because there is such a void within us. We are in denial. We live in denial. If we were to connect with our souls, and if we were to understand what we are all about, and we are beings of light, and it doesn't matter because the world is a transient place. You are here for a few years. And in those few years, do you want the goodwill and good soul connections, or do you want to gain wealth, megalomania, narcissism, all of that, and then, just pay the price for it? Because I'm a firm believer in karma.
So wonderful, Surekha. There are many questions unanswered, Nalini, I can understand. But of course, the book has a lot of things, a lot of depth, and it's an amazing, effort, Surekha, to be able to talk about these issues in these times. So still have some time. I would like to say, ask if all the panelists, and of course, a lot of people are out there, connected with us. Thank you so much, and all the panelists, to say a few lines, just very short lines about the book. We start with you, Mr. Ravi, M. Ravi. Your experience.
Please say, it's an amazing book. It's written with clarity and insight, and is a very bold attempt to take religion, Dharma, out of religion, and that way make it universal, just as maybe yoga or Ayurveda have gone out of religious moorings.
Thank you so much. Asalyaji, and of course, you have lived with the book, but then your take on the book, what would you like to say?
Like Nalini ji said, this book is like a stream. You can dip in at any time and any part of it. I feel even though I have edited this book and I have kind of imbibed so much of it, I would go back to it and read it again and again. So the book is very close to me now.
Nalini, of course, valid questions, and really those eye-opening questions which all of us have, So, but your take on the book, what is it you would like?
So I think I'll just quote from the book, because there's such a wonderful quote. In fact, Surekha is quoting somebody, and I think this is what she's saying, and I wish we would absorb it. And she's saying that happiness is the new rich, inner peace is the new success, health is the new wealth, and kindness is the new cool. So I would say that if this is, if a book can actually state this upfront, even if it's a quote from somebody, I would say that this is wonderful. It takes courage to say this in today's time.
Great. Thank you so much. And Surekha, we come back to you. And are you there?
Yes.
I'm losing. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And the first question which I had asked you before you say bye, we say bye to everyone, is that this is an app. You said you say it in your book, and the way Nalini also ended that, it's cool. So an app which we need to download, but before that, we need to know how we operate. So how was it that you were able to reach, and how should we do it? One quick take on that.
It's I'm a very basic, simple human being, so I don't know how to say it in elaborate words. I just feel, just start simplifying your life, simplifying your thoughts, and thought is the prime energy. If you simplify your thoughts, and at every step, if you are aware of the thoughts that are coming in and what quality of thought you are imbibing, instead of sending it back into the universe when it doesn't work for you. So you are actually internalizing many things which don't work for you and which pollute you inside, but you don't know it. So keep cleansing, and at every step you will find, it's like meditation.
People come and tell me, my God, I don't know how you meditate for an hour. I can't even sit for 2 minutes. But you know, it's all about regularity and sustenance. You sustain something. When you first start meditating, you get very agitated. Because when I did Vipassana, I realized that I was calm on the 5th day. The first 4 days, I wanted to run away. So what you need to do is you need to persist with that. And you need to see to it that your thoughts slowly keep reducing, and then it gives room for fresh thought. So to download the app, you really have to download your insistence on your own recovery process, and then start from there, simplifying yourself. And what
you know, the intention is important. And you know, for me, yes, the intention to heal, the way you said. And you know, for me, meditation is connecting. So for 45 minutes, I think for an hour, we've been connected, and our mind didn't go anywhere else. I was so connected in this whole beautiful, you know, gathering. And even if it's virtual, I never felt for a minute, you know, that I was not connected. So once we connect to ourselves and to the divine, I think meditation can happen. Surekha, once again, it is an amazing book. I really look forward.
It's going to help many people to at least start their journey. And before we take, you know, we wind up this, you have something to say, you have your words of wisdom to give us, and you know, vote of thanks. So we'll wait for that, and then I'll also let everyone know how they can get the book. G.
The volume is gone. I could not hear you ask me.
We're waiting for the. Now we have to wind up the whole event. So you have something you would like to say something to everyone who is part of the, you know, this event.
Yes, absolutely. I would really like to, first of all, extend a very big thank you, and let me do it. I don't want to forget anybody, so I'm going to. Guru Brahma, I thank the divine grace that has made this book possible. I thank my Guru, my mother, my first Guru, and both my spiritual gurus for their blessings. I would like to express my deep appreciation to everyone on the panel this evening. They have responded to my invitation so readily and so willingly, despite their busy schedules, that I am really touched. I owe them a very sincere gratitude, above all for believing in me as a first-time author, and for making this evening interesting and thought-provoking. To Ravi, who's been an indescribable support, took the time to write a wonderful and detailed introduction for the book, and agreed to be on the panel this evening as further support. I guess even gratitude would be an inadequate word for you, Ravi, but a huge debt of appreciation. Thank you. To Nalini, what can I say? I approached her through a friend, and she just came through for me spontaneously. One of those rare connections that you cannot explain. You can only understand. Nalini, I thank you most sincerely for being with us this evening, despite so many preoccupations. To Sandhya, a warm gratitude and appreciation for going way beyond the call of editorial duties to help me out in so many gray areas of my inexperience in the publishing industry. She became not only my editor, but also my mentor in many ways. Thank you, Sandhya. To Kanipriya, a long-time friend and a spiritualist, for being my mirror in many ways, and for weaving the event together in her inimitable fashion. She has been a pillar of support, very focused and very understanding. Thank you, Kanu. I could not have done this without you. Last, but not at all the least, my daughter Antara, who despite a full work schedule and 2 little kids, came in to do the introductions today for this event. A loving thank you, Antara. I miss the presence of Ashwin Sankhi here today, but owe him a warm debt of gratitude for finding the time between 3 major projects to write a beautiful foreword for my book. Thank you, Ashwin, I owe you. My gratitude to Nijansh Verma and Speaking for deftly and efficiently handling the technical side of this event. To all the friends and audience that have taken the time to log into this event, thank you most sincerely. And to all my friends who helped me along the way in one way or another, I am so grateful. And my family, how can I forget them? Ever supportive, always standing by me in every effort of mine. My husband Pradeep and my three lovely daughters, Antara, Mitali, and Piali. Thank you so much, one and all, for your blessings and for the good wishes. I now surrender this book to the universe and let it go into the hands where it is ordained to go. Thank you so much.
Great, Surekha. Wonderful. And I thank all the panelists. And before we take your leave, once again, let me remind you, Dharma by Design, A Universe in Harmony, is a book by Surekha Kothari. It's available on Notion Press, and India print is available on Amazon.in and Flipkart. International print is available on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk. Ebooks are also available. You can get them on Amazon Kindle, Kobo, Google Play, and iBooks. This whole event was brought to you by Speaking. So we take your leave and hope to see this universe, which is being created by Surekha in harmony, being manifested. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.